fire. Live in the Oakland Hills, Ken Wayne, KTVU Channel 2 News.
Okay, Ken, thank you.
One of the problems with today's fire was the presence of eucalyptus trees in the Oakland Hills. As we have seen in the past, they are able to ignite and even explode in flames in rapid time. But this time, firefighters were ready for that hazard and several others. Channel 2's Diane Dwyer is in the Oakland Hills. She's got a live report. Diane?
Leslie, it was a large stand of eucalyptus trees that caused many of the problems for firefighters today. The fire started here, and there is so much oil in these eucalyptus trees that they burn like matches, quickly catching fire and spreading. Tonight, crews are working to bring down many of these partially burned trees, and as they come down, fires spark up again, fires that were burning unseen inside the trunks. Fire crews say they worry because the fire can also smolder underground in the roots of the eucalyptus trees. And to make matters worse, eucalyptus leaves are notorious for catching fire and taking flight.
The tree themselves, as they ignite up, then they throw off all these embers, the leaves and the bark and whatnot, and then that carries on and ignites more trees, and pretty soon you have this catastrophic, potentially catastrophic situation. This is a real classic example of the shaggy bark.
Firefighters know the eucalyptus well. They learned its catastrophic potential in 1991 during the devastating firestorm.
It's gonna blow.
But firefighters and many residents also learned some valuable lessons from that deadly day 11 years ago.
91 is forever etched in our memories, and we look at it as a lesson, as lessons learned, and now we're able to apply it, and we're successful.
Among the things that are different this time, Oakland firefighters did not waste any time asking for air support, and the California Department of Forestry responded quickly.
You know, I've been there for 22 years. That was my first time being able to experience, on a wildland fire, seeing the coordinated efforts of air support, and you're standing there, and the plane is swooping down over the rooftops, down following the canopy of the slope.
Residents learned as well. Most homeowners at the top of the hill had cleared an area around their houses. That helped stop the fire as it raced toward their homes. But firefighters say still more needs to be done. Nearly all the homes have wood shake roofs.
This thing's gone. I'm putting up tile roof before the month is out if I can possibly get it done. There's a roofer out there who's willing to take on the job tomorrow. I'm ready to go.
Fire officials say the #1 reason for structure loss is shake roofs. And residents tonight also thanked the firefighters for a job well done. Live in Oakland, Diane Dwyer, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
Okay, Diane, thanks.
Now, there's much more straight ahead on tonight's 10 o'clock news, from peace marches to candlelight vigils. Services are held around the Bay Area tonight as the nation prepares to commemorate a day of infamy.
A little bit later tonight, some of the biggest changes in the past year have been at the nation's airports. But do passengers really feel safer 1 year later?
San Francisco's latest gang killing has a familiar pattern, and it's bad news for the Witness Protection Program.
And there is word of a remarkable change for the paralyzed actor who gained fame as Superman. Find out what his doctor says he can do now. 10 o'clock news will continue in 90 seconds.
Check this out.
That side. And it's only gonna get worse. At some point, a man's gotta stand for something. Guess I'll stand for myself. Dead to Rights, rated M for mature.
On the eve of the September 11th anniversary, hundreds of people around the Bay Area tonight began to gather to remember the day that changed America. KTVU Channel 2 reporter Lloyd Quest is in Oakland with more on tonight's events. Lloyd?
Dennis, about 300 people representing various East Bay peace groups held a vigil at Oakland's Lake Merritt tonight. They carried peace lanterns, a tradition from Japan. Such lanterns were used to remember the victims of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II. The theme of tonight's service was, "Our grief is not a cry for war."
We do want to commemorate the loss of life on September 11th, but we also want to remember those who have died around the world through war and militarism and violence before September 11th and since then also.
And in San Francisco tonight, an interfaith prayer service was held for the anniversary of September 11th. Members of Catholic, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, Greek Orthodox, and Christian faiths participated. Also, as part of the memorial, they marched on Brotherhood Way, returning to Thomas More Church, which will remain open until the time tomorrow when the first tower of the World Trade Center was hit.
This is our home. We care for everybody who lives here, and that is why we are here tonight to express the grief that was felt by the American Muslims on September 11th in New York and all the people who suffered with it.
At Fremont City Hall tonight, about 30 members of the American Muslim Alliance gathered to hold a candlelight service. The year since September 11th resulted in discrimination and some hate crimes against Muslims.
It is very important for our fellow Americans to think that, we are part of this country and their loss is our loss. This is our country. We are united.
The American Muslim Alliance said they held their service tonight because tomorrow they will join with fellow Americans to observe September 11th together. Live in Oakland, Lloyd LaQuesta, KTVU Channel 2 News.
And Lloyd, thank you.
In San Jose, Boy Scouts from many faiths gathered this evening to mark the anniversary of the terrorist attacks. The Santa Clara County Boy Scout Council organized a memorial march and interfaith ceremony to remember the victims of September the 11th and to honor their families. The event was intended to show unity among scouts from many religious persuasions. The march and the service culminated a day of remembrance ceremonies in Santa Clara County. Channel 2's Robert Honda reports from our South Bay Bureau.
People jammed into the County Government Center Plaza in San Jose today for the first of a series of September 11th anniversary memorials. Sheriff's deputies and Santa Clara County firefighters were on hand as county emergency workers unveiled a wreath as well as a county resolution of thanks and condolences that will be presented to New York City firefighters.
Being at this event and signing the resolution was something that I felt I could do, in this sort of ongoing effort to put my energy into a community healing process.
An American flag was raised to half-staff, and a group of South Bay emergency workers who went to New York called on people to help in any way they can.
I encourage all of you to find a way to extend yourselves to your neighbors, whether they are across the street or on the other side of the world.
Today's event stressed appreciation for cultural and racial diversity. A Native American group used what it called water with healing powers to bless the people of the world.
That was the day that we became one people.
When we saw some negatives that took place after September 11th against Muslims, against people who appeared to be Middle Eastern, or anybody that had an accent or came from another country. And what we have to remember is that we are a nation of immigrants.
County Supervisor Jim Bell may have had the closest encounter with the 9/11 tragedies. He was in Washington, D.C. the night before the attacks.
I had to make a decision about coming home, and I decided not to spend an extra day in Washington, D.C.
So he flew home that night instead of taking Flight 93 the next day, the flight that ultimately crashed in Pennsylvania.
It will haunt me for the rest of my life. The fact that people were in the terminal just probably a few hours after I left the same place had sacrificed their lives.
Many said they felt that same haunting feeling.
I, for the last year, have really changed my life. I've made sure that when I leave the family in the morning, I say goodbye to everyone.
Santa Clara County will hold a community meeting tomorrow at noon to let the public talk about how September 11th changed their lives. In San Jose, Robert Honda, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
Still to come on the 10 o'clock news. First, it was the toddler's son. Now the father has become the latest victim of San Francisco's gang violence.
Police in Vallejo have a mystery on their hands after a young woman's body is discovered near a neighborhood.
If I told you I had 2 tickets to Spain, what would you say?
When do we leave?
They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. I can't refuse it.
I'm Ken Bastida. America is on high alert. Who is threatening us and the extreme security measures at the Golden Gate Bridge? The news is next.
Your mother said we would love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so
Sweet. Wendy's 99-cent crispy chicken nuggets introduces Movie Mania.
Oh, it's so
Tender.
It's an emotional experience.
Now, with every order of delicious all-white meat nuggets, you'll win one of 50 million prizes or offers, including millions of free movie rentals at Blockbuster.
Where are you going?
We're out of nuggets.
I'll just pause it till you get back.
The 99-cent chicken nuggets and Movie Mania at Wendy's. It's better here. Spend 1 week since you looked at me. Cause you heard of the sign and I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying, come back and see me. Yesterday, you've forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry. It's the finest of the flavors. And it's the show cause I know that vertigo is at my door and the banger is you'll have to sign a waiver. I have a tendency to wear my mind up my sleeve. I had this it's been 1 week since you looked at me. Dropped your eyes to the sides and said I'm sorry.
Survivor Thailand is coming. What's the big surprise we have in store for the new castaways? We guarantee you'll never guess. Survivor premiere CBS Thursday, September 19th.
This carefree bachelor has a new woman in his life, his long-lost daughter.
I just know you're going to be a wonderful father.
Graham and Alice premieres Sunday, October 6th after Becker.
Tonight on an all-new Dave, don't miss the Late Show Sandwich Showdown. Plus, actress Jennifer Esposito and the top 10 good things about being obese. Tonight, first your local news.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News tonight, new threats against the U.S. Who's making them? What are the targets? And what's being done to keep you safe? The Oakland Hills fire that had residents on the run, the incident that ignited it, and the firefighters on duty right now making sure it stays out. And big trouble tonight for Martha Stewart, why congressmen say they don't believe her stock story.
It's hot and it is dry. So how do we spell relief? F-O-G. Eyewitness News starts now.
You're watching KPIX TV. Now, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Dana King. Our top story, the nation tonight stands at Code Orange. The vice president taken to a secret location. And U.S. intelligence has intercepted threats similar to those made before September 11th. Greg Lefebvre reports Americans worldwide are being warned of another attack. Greg.
And a very early sign, Dana, here at the approach to the Golden Gate Bridge, within hours of the orange alert that is going up from the level of yellow, the CHP stepped up its infrastructure protection, and the first sign was here at the approach to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Thank you very much.
Tonight, officers stop and examine every truck headed south to the Golden Gate Bridge.
And this is essentially in response to the heightened level of concern.
On this round of alerts, the information seems more credible.
We are now at high risk of a terrorist attack, where now we are at level orange. This heightened threat level has been or is being communicated to local and state law enforcement, federal agencies, members of Congress, governors, state homeland security advisors, and representatives of the private sector.
We take every threat seriously. The threats that we have heard recently remind us of the pattern of threats we heard prior to September the 11th.
While President Bush keeps his public schedule, Vice President Cheney, as he did last September, went to a secret, secure location. In Washington, the Army moved Stinger anti-aircraft missiles into place, and states were alerted to raise protection at highways, power stations, and bridges.
Going into the September 11th anniversary date, most of the agencies throughout the state were already on a fair heightened alert.
The same with cities. In San Francisco, for example, police have stepped up surveillance at about 100 locations considered critical to the infrastructure. The origin of this alert came from overseas.
The U.S. intelligence community has concluded that the most likely attacks of al-Qaeda attacks, the most likely targets of al-Qaeda attacks, are the transportation and energy sectors and facilities or gatherings that would be recognized worldwide as symbols of American power or security.
This while Iraq is turning up the heat in response to a threatened U.S. attack, And today, Iraq's vice president urged preemptive assaults on America, saying, fight the U.S. aggression through their representatives and on their soil, by all means. An example of the inspections that the CHP is doing, there's a truck inspection here going on behind me now. Every truck approaching the Golden Gate Bridge gets at least one good looking over. Dana, an indication of how tense things are at Denver International Airport tonight. A United Airlines pilot ordered all of his passengers off the plane to be re-screened. He said he was uncomfortable with some of the passengers. Yep, they were taken off the plane, they were re-screened and allowed back on. That flight was destined for San Francisco. It will arrive here at about 11:40, 2 hours late. Dana?
Greg Lefebvre at the Golden Gate Bridge, thank you for the update.
And there is breaking news out of Pakistan at this hour. Gunmen have taken over a building in an upscale residential neighborhood in Karachi. Now, witnesses say 3 police officers have been injured in the ensuing gunfight. No word yet on why that building was attacked, how many gunmen are involved, or whether they have taken any hostages. We're going to update this story as the information becomes available. All across the country tomorrow, Americans will remember September 11th with silence, prayer, and tributes to the victims. Now, you're looking at a live picture right now of Ground Zero in Manhattan, New York City, where the World Trade Center stood 1 year ago. The city's memorial will begin here with a moment of silence at 8:46 tomorrow morning. That's the time the first plane hit the Trade Center. It will end at 10:30 when the second tower collapsed. Family members, dignitaries, led by former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, will read the names of the dead and missing.
Well, in other news, investigators tonight think they know what sparked a fast-moving fire through the Oakland Hills. The intense flames and thick smoke conjured up memories of the fire that destroyed thousands of homes more than a decade ago in the same area. Juliette Goodrich is in the Oakland Hills tonight, where firefighters are making sure that history does not repeat itself. Juliette.
Dana, this fire is contained. That's the good news, but firefighters certainly have a long night ahead of them. They'll be out here checking hot spots and mopping up just to make sure that this fire is completely out. And they'll be out here for the next 48 hours, for that matter. A lesson learned after the 1991 Oakland Hills fire.
Oh, look, that big tree's on fire.
Minutes after the fire started, Oakland resident Lori Parham grabbed her video camera and started recording.
Oh, God, please don't let the house burn up.
The fire started just before noon in the Oakland Hills near Mountain and Keller Boulevard, quickly consuming eucalyptus trees and racing dangerously close to homes in the area like Lisa Thomas Franco's.
I was at work, and my mother called me and told me that there was a fire in the backyard. And I didn't think she meant literally the backyard, but she meant literally the backyard.
It doesn't look like the flames are like right behind
Many Oakland residents reacted quickly. They've been through this drill before in '91.
And I says, oh my God, the hill's on fire. Somebody please call the fire station.
250 firefighters and 6 air crews battled the 5-alarm fire. A fire started by a homeowner who was trying to protect his property from fire.
The individual was using a weed whacker or a weed eater, hit a rock, sparked, and in this dry grass, it was as if somebody had thrown a cigarette.
The fire was contained a few hours later, but it wasn't an easy fight. Just to give you an idea how challenging this fire was to fight, we're standing on the hillside right behind some homes in the area. It's thick terrain, it's steep terrain, a lot of dry eucalyptus trees, and a lot of rocks that firefighters have to walk around just to mop up. When homeowners got the word the fire was contained, relief set in.
I came from work, ran here, and I see that it's okay right now, hopefully.
And at this point, firefighters are treating this fire as accidental. Dana, certainly some tense moments here in Oakland, but as it all turned out, no homes were destroyed, 2 rooftops slightly damaged. 1 firefighter was injured, but at last check, he's doing just fine tonight.
All right, and that is the good news. Juliette Goodrich at Oakland Hills, thank you.
Of course, it's been 1 year since the attack on the U.S. Coming up next, the Bay Area's tributes to the victims.
And then later, why some in Congress think that Martha Stewart lied to them and what they want the Justice Department to do about it.
And President Bush's niece in trouble with the law again. The tough love approach her family will try now.
Looking at the satellite picture, you can see that the fog is back along the coast and it's moving into the bay. What effect that will have on our fire potential coming up?
Closed captioning is brought to you by Sleep Train, your ticket to a better night's sleep.
Tonight on an all-new Late Show.
I was wondering, Dave, how much time until my segment?
Don't miss Alec Baldwin tonight.
Every day, a bell rings. A city awakes. Day begins. A market opens, and the world gets down to business, all because every day a bell rings. Let freedom ring.
With retractable hardtop, value unlike any other.
Get Bay Area news and information instantly. Just click on the news button on the Pix page at kpix.com.
4 newsrooms, 1 commitment. Breaking news. Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
The observation of the September 11th anniversary is underway here in the Bay Area.
Channel 5's John Libertini is live at Oakland's Lake Merritt with a report on some of tonight's events. John?
Well, you know, guys, that Code Orange alert did little to keep people from remembering the anniversary of the terrorist attacks. In fact, early observances like the one held here in Oakland tonight were well attended all over the Bay Area. A Native American flute set the tone for a candlelight vigil on the banks of Lake Merritt. Japanese peace lanterns represent another 9/11 message.
To dedicate myself to working so that those kinds of tragedies and violence and wars don't happen.
We're doing it like a military cemetery in perfect straight rows.
In San Francisco's Washington Square Park, the flags represent the victims, more than 3,000 of them. But the message here is look forward, not back.
I don't want September the 11th from now on to become an orgy of grief.
The haunting memories have been captured in this book of September 11th poems.
And then I turned on the TV, and then I trembled.
The poets themselves shared their interpretations of the horror, the agony, and the pride a nation experienced 1 year ago.
We have to go into the smoke, into the darkness, to find peace, to bring about peace, to help people.
Scout salute. In San Jose, scouts, boy and girl, paid their respects.
What happened on September 11th sort of made people be a bit more closer together.
Back at Lake Merritt, there was obvious sorrow, but as some put it, this is not a cry for war.
You can't take the grief of people from September 11th and use that as justification for war on Iraq.
It's an anniversary no one wants to remember, an anniversary, Ken, that will be deeply felt here in the Bay Area. United Flight 93, one of 4 planes that crashed last September 11th, it was bound for San Francisco.
The remembrance is beginning tonight already. John Libertini live at Lake Merritt in Oakland. Thank you, John.
Well, it is election night in Florida, and once again, there are problems. Why it's taking so long to count the votes, and who won.
On
September 20th, Walt Disney Studios presents a Studio Ghibli film from master filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki. Winner of the Berlin Film Festival.
The witch controls you by stealing your name.
Winner at the San Francisco Film Festival. This fall, experience the magic. Share in the wonder.
I want you to know my real name. It's Chihiro.
And prepare to be spirited away. Rated PG. Starts Friday, September 20th in select cities.
For your love, oh, I would do anything. I would do anything.
Get the 2003 Saturn L Series with head curtain side airbags for 0% APR for 36 months. For restrictions, see your retailer.
Breaking news. Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
This WeatherNet is sponsored by John Esquagas Nugget Reno. Beautiful atrium pool, wonderful restaurants, and great entertainment. Call 1-800-648-1177.
Our weather stations all over the Bay Area picked up temperatures in the 90s. Some even hit the triple digits today. We'll take a look at weather where you live next.
If you're getting married, we'll rent you a tuxedo package for as little as $50, which is pretty good, considering her dress probably costs as much as your car.
Rent 4 tuxedos, and the groom's is free.
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
The doctors and hospitals in the Sutter Health family share their advances with each other. It's one more way we're finding better ways of fighting diseases like breast cancer. Sutter Health, community-based, not-for-profit.
He said, "Dad, you can't believe there's people jumping out of the windows."
And we all just almost said in unison, terrorism.
When the plane hit his building, they were talking and then they were cut off.
Lauren called from the plane. She said, "Jack, sweetie, are you there? There's a little problem on the plane."
9/11, a year later. An Eyewitness News special. Tomorrow at 7 on Channel 5. You're watching Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Well, so far, Janet Reno is trailing in her bid to become Florida's Democratic candidate for governor. With 60% of the precincts reporting in today's primary, the former Attorney General trails her opponent by about 12%. Several large counties where Reno is expected to do well have still not yet reported in. The final results are taking a while, partly because Florida's revamped election system got off to a pretty rocky start today. Several of the polls had to open late. New touch screens wouldn't work, and some ballots wouldn't even scan.
Some of us have been here an hour and a half. The machines aren't working. They can't contact anybody to come fix the machines. We can't vote in another precinct's machines. We're locked out.
State of Florida spent $32 million to fix problems from the 2000 presidential election. Governor Jeb Bush ordered precincts to stay open 2 extra hours tonight just to make sure that everyone gets a chance to vote.
Well, in the meantime, Governor Bush's daughter may be facing new legal troubles tonight. Police say Noelle Bush was caught with 2 grams of cocaine at a drug treatment center in Orlando. The discovery dealt a blow to the governor, who has stood behind his daughter since her drug problem surfaced last January.
It's up to my daughter to resolve in her heart and mind that she needs to change. She needs to accept responsibility. She knows that we love her, and she knows a whole lot of people care for her, but it's up to her.
Police are not sure how Bush got those drugs. They're now questioning her as well as staff members at the treatment facility.
Martha Stewart could be in a little legal trouble of her own. Today, a House committee turned over the investigation into Stewart's sale of ImClone stock to the Justice Department. It'll determine whether Stewart lied to congressional staffers about having inside information before she sold the stock.
This evidence raises a serious question as to whether Ms. Stewart's accounts were false, misleading, and designed to conceal material facts. We have come to the end of the road in regard to the matter dealing with Martha Stewart, and that is now up to the Justice Department to make judgments in the matter.
Stewart sold 4,000 shares of ImClone stock a day before the feds rejected the company's application for an experimental drug. The stock plummeted after the announcement. Stewart says she based her sale solely on an agreement with her broker to sell once the stock dipped below $60.
A Southern California factory full of building insulation erupted into a ball of fire today. It took firefighters 2 hours to contain the blaze at the Insulfoam plant in Chino. The fire forced the evacuation of some 100 workers at the plant and in adjoining businesses. The cause of the fire under investigation tonight.
Humidity's been way down all day today. We've seen it in the Bay Area with fires. What's the rest of the week looking like?
Good news that the relative humidity should be going up overnight tonight since we have fog at the coast and it is moving into the bay. Temperatures were extremely high today inland. In fact, it was actually warmer by around 4 degrees in Livermore than it was yesterday. They made it to 97 degrees officially in Livermore, 94 in Concord, 94 in San Jose. Meanwhile, it did cool down, 8 degrees in Pacifica, 4 degrees in San Francisco. That's evident that we are seeing a little bit more of an onshore component to the wind flow. So the reason it has been so hot, especially inland, is we have high pressure aloft, big ridge of high pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but we also have high pressure at the surface. And we're going to focus on this high that is centered over the Great Basin right now. It's been causing the air to sink and compress and warm, and it also strengthens the offshore component to the wind flow. And of course, that brings the hot, dry air off the land and pushes the marine layer away. But now it's weakening a little bit. This high pressure is taking control. We're seeing more of an onshore push, more in the way of fog. So that is going to cool us down, up our levels of humidity a bit, and temperatures will definitely be easier to bear, especially along the coast tomorrow with some fog. It'll still be sunny inland, but the RH should be up a little bit, the humidity, and we should also see the temperatures come down a bit as well. In the neighborhoods of Napa and Sonoma and Santa Rosa, low 90s, 80 in Sausalito, 64, cooling it down a bit in Stinson Beach with the fog there in the morning. We'll have temperatures ranging from the low 80s in Oakland and Emeryville to the low 90s in Livermore and Pleasanton, 92 in Antioch and in Pittsburgh, 92 in Fairfield, 87 in Fremont. San Jose will be looking at temperatures in the upper 80s, Sunnyvale, Mountain View, mid 80s, temperatures down a few more degrees in San Francisco as well as Half Moon Bay. So a brief little respite from the heat, a brief cool down for our Wednesday. A little bit of moderation on Thursday, and look, we are heating it right back up again with temperatures in the upper 90s in the warmest spots over the weekend and mid 60s at the beaches, and then we will dry out again as well.
Typical
Summer
September.
continues,
Definitely in that season.
Okay,
Thanks,
Sam,
Sam.
thank you.
Sure thing.
Well, President Bush will make his case for an attack on Iraq Thursday. Reservations Bay Area residents have about his plan.
You can be late for a lot of things. But a lower interest rate? You don't want to miss that. Just call 1-800-CHAMPION. Now's a great time to refinance. If anyone can show you how to reduce your monthly payments, it's Champion Mortgage. They've been doing it for over 20 years. I know you've got 10 minutes. Don't miss out.
For a no-obligation free consultation, call 1-800-CHAMPION and see just how competitive our rates are. Champion says yes.
The Volvo S60. In a stop-and-go world, few cars stop and go quite like it. During Volvo's 75th anniversary sales event, you can get a great S60 lease or factory-to-retailer clearance incentives on all other 2002s. See your Volvo retailer soon.
Thank you so much.
After you, yes.
Thanks. Wow. Imagine a regular guy like me getting special treatment from a bank.
You're a regular guy?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
A person's net worth should have nothing to do with their real worth. That's why at our brokerage company, WM Financial Services, financial consultants are available to everyone. Washington Mutual.
Life can be strange and unpredictable and impossible to explain. But sometimes, when you least expect it, something astonishing happens. And you realize life can be richer and funnier and more surprising than anything you've ever imagined. Moonlight Mile, rated PG-13, September 27th in select cities.
Coughing up cards,
Easy. Magic wands, no-brainer. Furry woodland creature. You want to know what's really magic? That's when Singular takes my unused minutes and makes them reappear the very next month. Oh, now you're impressed. Rollover, only from Singular.
This portion of Eyewitness News is brought to you by Singular Wireless. Introducing Singular Rollover. They're your minutes. Keep them.
You're watching Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
With the upcoming midterm election, America's potential war against Saddam Hussein could sway voters.
Channel 5 political editor Hank Plant reports that President Bush can put a lot of pressure on Democrats.
From the release of the latest al-Qaeda videotapes to the leaked news stories on Iraq's weapons program, the administration is finally building its public relations case for action against Saddam Hussein. And with the midterm elections coming, political scientists like SF State's David Tabb believe the White House is under the gun to make its case.
I think he wants to put the Democrats between a rock and a hard place, plus the fact he wants to, the more he can mobilize opinion in favor of it, the more it can become a campaign issue in a manner that will, he might think, work in his favor in terms of winning back the Senate.
So, how's the PR war going? The new field poll shows Californians approve of military action against Iraq by 58% to 33% who disapprove. But voters do prefer that congressional approval comes first. California is largely in line with the rest of the nation when it comes to support for action against Iraq. But the Bay Area, being the Bay Area, is another story. Bay Area voters only approve of Iraqi action by 39%, with 47% saying they disapprove. 14% have no opinion.
The Bay Area traditionally is a more pacifist area in California and also around the country, and no different on this issue. A plurality of Bay Area residents actually disapproves of the president taking military action against Iraq.
But DiCamillo still expects wide support for any presidential action anyway.
Well, there's a lot of conditions, again, that the public puts on it, but I would also say this, that if action is taken, the traditional American public stance is to rally behind the president. So I suspect that if military action were taken, even without any consent or even without Allied support, that the initial reaction of Californians and the American public would be to support the president's actions.
Meanwhile, the president will lay out his case in a speech before the United Nations on Thursday as the administration's full-court press to sway public opinion continues. In San Francisco, Hank Plant, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
All right, I'm Dennis O'Donnell. An ex-athletic comes up big against his old team tonight in the battle for the West, and they're going head over heels. At Pac Bell, Giants go for sole possession of the wild card lead. It's next in sports.
Looking for your favorite oldies? They're playing now at 99.7 FM, KFRC. Motown Monday, Beatles Wednesday, the 8 to 5 no repeat workday. Number one for oldies. Oldies 99.7 KFRC.
Got the long weekend. We're leaving early. This is good. A little walk. We'll be there by noon. Latest. Thanks. Ooh, backseat. We'll be the only car on the road. You ready?
Let's go.
This is gonna be great.
I just found out my guy hasn't seen a dentist in 5 years.
What's he thinking?
But he details his car every 3 weeks.
Naturally.
He says it's too hard to find one that he likes.
Call 1-800-DENTIST like everybody else does. It's so easy.
I know. That's who I told him to call.
That's where you went wrong. You can't tell him to call. You have to call for him. That's right.
Men are such chickens. If it wasn't for us, they'd have no teeth at all.
SBC has telecommunication networks across the country. Our competitors have access to them. SBC has multi-billion-dollar plans to develop new technologies. Most of our competitors have marketing plans. See, not everyone selling phone service is what you'd call a phone company. Middlemen? Yes. But a phone company? Our lines, our networks. Infinite expertise. SBC.
Gray Davis signed the toughest gun safety laws in the nation. Bill Simon sides with the NRA against gun control. Davis is pro-choice. Simon opposes abortion, even when the woman's health is at risk. Simon's funded some of the most radical anti-choice groups. Gray Davis signed the nation's first law combating global warming. Simon opposes Davis's legislation and even wants to weaken the Environmental Quality Act. Governor Gray Davis. Experience we trust. Values we share.
Listen to The Wave, because it's going to change your life.
93.3, The Wave. Makes you move.
It's got a lot of variety.
It's world beat music.
Reggae, R&B, pop, today's music. It's eclectic, it's diverse.
Like San Francisco itself.
93.3, The Wave.
Make that 5 straight wins, 13 of the last 16, and guess who's leading the wild card race in the National League? This guy was there when Bobby Thompson's home run beat the Dodgers in 51. Defenses always play Barry Bonds to pull the ball. Normally, this is the line drive out. Instead, Lofton scores. Aurelia scores, and the Giants lead 2-0 on a double for Bonds. Second inning now, Rich Aurelia, chopper to shortstop. We're going to have a play at the plate. Jason Schmidt goes in, standing up. He's safe. Joe DeLuca goes bazooka. And you know what? I think he's got a point. We're going to slow it up for you right here. Watch where his glove is. I think he's out of there. But they call him safe. Jason Schmidt gave up just 2 runs in 7 2/3, wins for the 4th straight time. Giants beat the Dodgers, a 5-2 count. Now, just 1 month ago, the Giants were 4 back of the wild card. Now they lead it. And if you're going to Pac Bell tomorrow, bring a broom. Special tributes are planned at all 16 Major League parks where games are going to be played tomorrow. That includes Pacific Bell Park, where the Giants and Dodgers go at 12:15. Military flyovers, firefighters, and police will participate in the ceremony. Every fan is going to get a commemorative T-shirt that reads, "We shall not forget." The most patriotic event in sports history, April 25th, 1976, Cubs outfielder Rick Monday pulled the American flag from 2 protesters who tried to set it afire on the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
And that flag is very proudly displayed in my home, and it means a great deal to me. And I think in light of what has happened now to our country and to the world, is it, yeah, those people had the right to go ahead and vocalize what they wanted to say. I'm not convinced that they had the right to go ahead and desecrate a flag.
Yeah, Monday now, a broadcaster for the Dodgers. Down to Southern California now, and the A's who got a little payback from an old friend. This youngster among 35,000 at baseball rejuvenated Edison Field in Anaheim. Scott Spezia used to work at second base in Oakland not too long ago. Tonight, he roughed up Ted Lilly for a 2-run jack in the 1st inning. Now 3-0 in the 6th. Oakland's bats come to life. Terrence Long homers for the 2nd straight night, his 15th. It's a 3-2 ball game. 8th inning now, Spezio again. This time, Terrence Long has a chance. Here's the ball. Here's Long. Not going to get it. 2 runs scored. 3 runs batted in, by the way, for Spezio tonight. Angels win 5-2. The lead in the West is now back down to 2 games with Seattle lurking way back there. Time for the Tuesday night top 5. At number 5, this is why they make the big bucks. The Astros' Jason Lane. Watch him do a faceplant on the rail. Okay? Only guy who likes that is the orthodontist, but it gets better. Watch Jason Lane this time. Tough night for Jason Lane. At number 4, back to Pac Bell. Richie Aurelia is going to glove this one, and JT Snow with the nice scoop. More from JT in just a moment. Number 3 from the Bronx. The Orioles got swept by the Yankees. This is a doubleheader. But Jay Gibbons, look at that, with the top 5 tonight. Beauty. At number 2 from Philadelphia. This is a lesson on how not to slide if you're watching at home. Kevin Millar is going to go for 2. Watch what he does. Kevin Millar for 2.
Dropped anchor.
He's going to take a lot of... He dropped anchor, Mestina said. All right, we're going back. JT Snow hangs on to the baseball. You know, Rich Aurelia, after the game in the clubhouse, was talking about the things that people don't realize that JT Snow does. Doesn't hit a lot of home runs, plays defense.
He's good. All right, that was great tonight. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Grab your dogs, your friends, and your kids. Come to the Doggone Fun Run on September 22nd. Call for information.
Dependable, reliable, and KCBS. Count on it. All news all the time. KCBS All News 74.
Get the 2003 Saturn L Series with head curtain side airbags for 0% APR for 36 months. For restrictions, see your retailer.
Excuse me. Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Why is your treadmill off?
Oh, well, ladies, don't you know that it is important to avoid using your appliances until after 7 p.m.? You know, after peak hours?
But it's 7:02 now.
It is? Whoa, I'm done.
Conservation. It's a way of life.